every time you come into the gym. So you warm up, you work up to your training max. Based on that training max, that's how you calculate the percentages for the day. So you're actually creating a representation of how tired they are.
Good morning. Happy Monday. I have Neuro Coffee in hand and it is perfect. All right. Coming off a great weekend. So we wrapped up Intensive 14 yesterday. Kind of in a little bit of a catch-up recovery mode today, but feeling really, really good about it. Housekeeping. iFast University members, we have call at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. So be looking for that. The link is already up on ifastuniversity.com. If you're not a member of ifastuniversity.com, please go there now and get yourself signed up so you can join us for the call at 1 p.m. All right. So digging into today's Q&A. This was with Lalo, and it came off one of the Coffee and Coaches conference calls. And we started off talking about a performance-related indicator in regards to whether someone is sort of utilizing connective tissues efficiently in a vertical jump and how we would identify that. But we drifted into a situation where we started discussing elements of fatigue and how we can monitor that. And there are certainly many ways to do that, and there are plenty of gadgets out that are available to us that can help us with that. But oftentimes in real time, so when we're actually in the gym, are there ways that we can monitor these things? And I would say yes there are. So something as simple as creating a 5-point scale of how do you feel today can actually be very, very useful. So the perception of fatigue can matter. So if I have an athlete that comes in and says, oh, I'm a 1 out of 5, then we might need to reconsider what we had planned for training that day. And he comes in a 5 out of 5, then maybe it's time to up the game a little bit, as it were. Rating of technique is an important one, and this is an ongoing thing that we use in the gym all the time as a coach, is you're monitoring technique of your athlete. And if we start to see a technical breakdown, then we can identify the fact that, okay, so maybe we overshot the intensity a little bit, or they're starting to accumulate fatigue and it's time to shut it down and move on to the next activity or end the workout for today. In combination with that, we can use the athlete's perception of exertion. So how hard does something feel? So the big question would be, after you perform a set, it's like, how hard was that? I compare that to my rating of technique, and then I make the decision as to whether we're going to move that weight up, stay the same, or lower it down, or once again, moving on to a new activity. We could use range of motion as a KPI to monitor, and that would be something that we would do over time. So for instance, if I had a baseball pitcher that requires a certain amount of shoulder range of motion to be an effective baseball pitcher, and we're in the gym working on maximum force production, what I don't want to do is create interference for that range of motion, so I would monitor that over time. One of the cool ways to monitor fatigue in the gym is just to perform a training maximum for the day. So let's just say that I was going to train at a 5 rep maximum for that day. I want to perform sets of 3 at 5 RM, and then I would accumulate volume based on how many sets I can perform of 3 at that 5 RM, but I would have to train up to that 5 repetition maximum for the day. If I monitor that over time, what I can see is I can see fluctuations in the 5 repetition maximum and determine how we're going to identify fatigue in that regard. So we're always training at an optimum level, so that your 5 RM may fluctuate, and so we can adapt the workout to your level of fatigue in that manner. And then, as we discussed in this Q&A with Lalo, we talked about using vertical jump as a measure of fatigue. All we have to do is accumulate data points over time. So we'd have the athlete come in, they warm up, they perform their vertical jump test at the beginning of the program, or any other field test that you feel is valuable and valid at the time. And we monitor that over time, and we look for a change there. We can compare that to any of our other perception of fatigue, technique, etc. And then we get an idea of how this athlete behaves over time. That just allows us to make better training decisions and better decisions on the fly during the workout itself. So this will be a good video for many people that maybe don't have access to some of the high-tech monitoring systems, still want to be able to monitor their workouts effectively. So again, I think you'll find it valuable. So thank you, Lalo. If you would like to participate in a 15-minute consultation, please go to askbillhartman@gmail.com, askbillhartman@gmail.com, and put 15-minute consultation in the subject line. We will arrange that at our mutual convenience. Have an outstanding Monday. I'll see you on the iFast University call at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Lalo, you out for a walk, man?
Yes, sir. Early before it gets to 103 degrees with 99% humidity.
It's
Um,
cold here this morning.
so, yeah, good morning. So I have a basketball player transitioning from high school to college, but he's very recreational in his basketball. Basically, he goes to the park every day, spends 2 to 3 hours in the park playing basketball with his friends.
Yep.
So I've been trying to not do a lot of the low amplitude plyometrics and ballistics with him for the connective tissue talk that we just had with Andrew. Kind of like the same thing.
Yeah.
But so the frequencies and the rate of force productions and all that are, I've been focused on more magnitude. I've been focused on like, let me just do the little bit of heavier weight training. Let me see how you transition from a yielding to a overcoming action and those kind of things. And the reverse banded that we did a couple months back, I don't know if you remember, worked really well for him to not do the double bounce on the box because he had the double tap on the box.
I got you.
And I don't know how much more to push him because of how much he already does on his own.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know if you can reference me to any type of research or book that can help me understand the recovery process of the connective tissue so I can have an idea of programming. How often should I program him and how much magnitude to do that based on what he does?
Yeah. Do you test him at all?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't have a jump pad or anything, so I just take video on like how high he jumps on there, or
you could
might take slow motion videos.
Yeah, well, you could do it with chalk or a Post-it note, right?
Yeah.
So what you want to look at is the differential between his counter movement jump and his static, like a hold jump, and use that differential to guide your process. Right.
Okay.
So if you got a big differential there, then he might need a little bit more bouncy work. If it's if there's a big differential there, he's got the bouncy part and you focus on magnitude.
Okay. So like take test of a penultimate step, standing still, and then also like a rebound.
Yeah. What you're trying to figure out is like, okay, if I take away the yield, how much force does he produce? If I give him the yield, how much force does he produce? So is he elastic so he can store and release a lot of energy? So his counter movement jump is really, really high, but you have him hold for a count of 4 or 5 before he jumps, and it's not very high. Okay. Then you know he's very efficient with his connective tissues, and you need to focus on magnitude.
Right. Because I can't really, like, I don't know if he's also fatigued in any way from the amount of playing that he does.
Okay. So you monitor him over time. So every time you see him, warm up, do your jumps, make your comparison, and then see what happens over time. Because all you're doing is monitoring fatigue, right? So that's, if you've ever, do you ever have anybody like on a regular basis work up to like a training maximum for the day kind of a thing to calculate percentages and things? You know what I'm talking about?
Like work up that day or through like a 4-week cycle?
Every day kind of a thing. So how do you know how well somebody's recovered in the weight room? Uh-oh, did I lose you?
Sorry. No, yeah, I'm good.
Well, if you're working with one of Manuel's weightlifters, okay,
right,
and let's just say you're working off percentages for the day. So you're gonna do, so many sets of cleans at 75%. How do you know what 75% is for the day? You work up to a training maximum, okay, every time you come into the gym. So you warm up, you work up to your training max. Based on that training max, that's how you calculate the percentages for the day. So you're actually creating a representation of how tired they are. And then you monitor that over time. And so you need data points, right, over time. But you can do the same thing with a vertical jump. So let's just say your boy comes in, he's got a 34-inch vert today, and that's your first measure. And then next time he comes in and he goes 35 inches. And so that means that he jumped better. So either your training is like stellar or he's just better recovered. Then he comes in on a Tuesday, having played, 17 hours on the blacktop yesterday, and he comes in and he's a 31.
Right.
You need some way to track. So your KPI for him may be that, like, what is his counter movement jump, and then what is his differential between the counter movement and the whole jump, and that will tell you, it's like, where are you in this process? But you're going to track it over time.
Should I have some type of control also? Like tell him, hey, look, just give me 1 week of resting, of not going to the park, so I can have an idea of, if you have 7 days of recovery, what would be your normal jump,
Yeah. Well, good luck with that. But yeah, you can do that. I just don't think you're going to be able to convince. You're not going to be able to convince a kid that likes to play basketball 3 hours a day not to play basketball for 7 days. You know what I mean?
I'll tell him he's allowed to play it on his PlayStation for 4 hours, maybe. I'll tell his mom, like, let him play on his PlayStation for.
I think your best case is just to start tracking data points. Like, you decide what your KPI is going to be as a determinant of fatigue. So you can ask him, it's like, okay, on a scale from 1 to 5, how recovered do you feel? And then you do your field test, and then you track that over time. So he comes in and he goes, and you say, how tired are you? He goes, I'm a 3 out of 5, and then he has like the worst jump of the week, kind of a thing. You kind of know that, okay, he feels tired and he's demonstrating the fatigue as well. Right. So there's a lot of ways that you can do this, but I would say that you're just like a couple of quick tests on a regular basis will give you the information that you're looking for.
Got it. Thank you, Bill.